Another reason that a lot of people fail and that is easy, very easy to avoid. So make sure that you do not do this. Hello everyone, I'm a structural engineer in the UK with over a decade of experience designing buildings, and I passed my IStructE exam a few years ago. What I'll be doing today is I'll be just going through the 2023 February exam, section 2D, which is basically the drawings. I'm not going to actually draw the drawings in so much quality as they needed to be done for the exam, but what I will be doing is I'm just going to draw more of a sketch in the screen, just because I cannot achieve that quality that needs to be done in the exam in the screen. And also I'm just going to be going through what are the main reasons why people fail this section and how you can avoid them. And we'll also give you some tips to complete this section faster because, well, time is the biggest constraint in your exam. So let's go. I will probably be leaving a link to some of the past exams that I have resolved before, where you can see the actual quality that is expected in the drawings in the exam. So a few things just before we go into the details of each drawing is make sure that on all your drawings you include the necessary dimensions. And for that, it's always very helpful to have grid lines in there. So the first thing to do is to decide how many drawings you want to go for. My magic number was in the exam to use 4 drawings. One for the foundation and ground floor, another one for the intermediate levels and the roof, and the third one sections, and the final one, number 4, for details. One thing also when choosing which exam you're going to go for is that I personally try to avoid, if possible, any circular buildings, because they are more likely to be more difficult to draw, and you need more tools like a compass to just go around and draw these circular sections properly, because it's hand drawn as well. It's more difficult to do in a good quality. Make sure that you write all the notes in a single drawing, normally the first drawing that you do, and then all the other drawings that you do afterwards, just make reference back to this drawing. So, for example, here I'm just writing typical notes that you will have in a concrete structure. So I had a template of the notes for different types of structures, and then I just write, this is this type of structure, and then of course personalize it, amend it, and make sure that everything that you need including in there. Make sure that you include all the reinforcement estimates and also a schedule of beams and columns. So when you draw the plan drawings, the first one and second one, and I think in this case I did 3 plan drawings, then I make sure that I use symmetry lines. Symmetry lines, they are your best friend. They are your best friend in the drawings, and because they basically allow you to have 2 drawings in a single page and done, well, more easily. So you got 2 drawings done in a single page. So you can see in this case, for example, we got the foundation and typical floor, level 1 to level 3. Okay, and then on the left hand side, then I have all the foundations, then a symmetry line right for the middle, and then to the right hand side, anything that is related to the level 1 and level 3 general arrangement, which is basically the columns, slab, and wherever there's voids. The slab is a composite metal deck floor slab, except for the ground floor. And the ground floor, there's a ground bearing slab, and that's when I decided, alright, okay, I need to include an additional drawing because I need to include the ground floor and the foundation, and then another one for the intermediate levels. Another very useful tip that I learned when I was practicing for the exam is do not start your next drawing until you have fully completed the last one. Of course, there might be times when you have to come back because I'm not sure you forgot something or you realize you made a mistake, but that's the thing. Like, if you do not fully complete or you think there is not fully complete one drawing and then you go to the next one and you realize there's a mistake, you carry over that mistake over the next drawing. So make sure that you've fully completed all notes, all comments, all dimensions, etc. Now, one of the main reasons why people fail the exam is because they provide, like I am doing here actually, poor quality drawings. So if you provide poor quality drawings, they might be just a reason for you to fail this section of the exam. So one tip for me that I was given to make sure that my quality or the quality of my drawings were much better is to use erasable pens. Every time I was drawing with pens, then if I made a mistake, then I had to draw over or maybe start again, and it would just take so much longer. So what I did was I used erasable pens, and it was one of the best advices that I got for this exam. Another reason that a lot of people fail and that is easy, very easy to avoid, so make sure that you do not do this, is do not write your name or membership number in the title box of the drawing. Avoid it, because anything that gives away your identity or your name then is a straight fail. I also included the location of the vertical bracing and make sure that, well, it's stable in all directions. I also included a location where the openings were, just to make sure that it was identified that there was an opening in there and that there was no column blocking or bracing blocking the entrances. Then the secondary beams, it was all sized by typical sizes. So in the engineering, structural engineering pocketbook, for example, you can find typical sizes of when you're using a metal deck concrete composite slab. Then you got your primary beam and your secondary beams that are at closer centers, and then there's guides in there of, well, this is your live load, this is your span. Just make sure you use those, because you don't need to really calculate the capacity of those beams because they are not the primary structural elements. You have to make sure that all your drawings are to scale. These ones clearly are not, but you have to make sure that all the drawings are to scale. And normally, the typical scales that you use is for GAs 1/50, 1/100, and 1/200, depending the size of your building, of course. And then for details, Normally the scales used are 1 to 5, 1 to 20 and 1 to 50, again depending on the size of what you're drawing. In drawing number 3, again I'm going to use a symmetry line. On the left hand side I'm going to use or draw the conference hall, GA, and on the right hand side then the roof structure. On the level 4, the proposal is to use primary beams that are spanning over onto the columns, and then secondary beams close the centers. Then on the right hand side I'm preparing the roof structure, and as you can see is trusses in the left to right direction, which they cantilever slightly about 8 meters, which is between the grid line 3 and 5. And then there's trusses in from the top to bottom direction too, because of the large span. I think it's about 24 meters, yes, between grid line B and C. And then I needed a large beam, or a very large beam, or in this case a truss, then to span between the trusses at the top and bottom. And I'll leave it here for now, just to make sure that the video is not too long. And what I'll do is then I'll do a part 2 of this video showing the section and details of the building.